Okay, I've tried to shoot this video. Tried so many times to shoot this video. It's been the buzzing noise in the background. I'll check it when I finish. It's a follow up to my one of my first videos, I think, about are you too old to be a nurse at 50? It was a 50-year-old's point of view, so now you're going to get a 52-year-old's point of view. Let's see. My viewpoint on whether or not you can be a nurse at our age, middle age, beyond middle age, is still valid. I still believe that is the case. I think you can be a nurse. That's not the difficulty. Because nursing school, while it was the hardest didactic that I took, it wasn't hard. You know, I don't want, you got through college, you can get through this. It wasn't, impossible. So many people have done it before. So, I mean, that's not the issue. The hardest part I found to start your journey is just to start. I found in my travels and my discussions, that was the hardest part. That was the delay, in a lot of people is just making that first decision to start the momentum, get off of that inertia, and really start your journey. Because once you start your journey, then you fall into a pattern, because they basically have a program, usually, whether it's prereqs or their nursing school themselves. They'll say, okay, you started, your first class is A&P1, chemistry, whatever. Once you start and say, hey, I want to go to this nursing school, they'll say, okay, well, you need these prereqs. And they have a timeline, you start doing, and you follow that, and it's just kind of following the steps. But I find most people stop before that. The next block is during that phase. I find a lot of people have trouble with one class or another. Maybe it's A&P2, maybe it's chemistry, maybe it's microbiome. Those are the heavy hitters. Those are the real hardcore sciences that a lot of people get smashed on. So if you can get through those, and then you're pretty well on your way. I find a problem is people tend to watch the calendar or clock, however you want to say it, because they say, oh, I've wasted 20, 30 years of my life. I want to get it done quick. No. You've waited this time. Take your time. Don't think because you started in your 40s, you have to get it done this semester. You're stacking the deck against you. So don't do that. Stack the deck in your favor. Take it one at a time. I did it that way. It was easy. It was hard in the sense you had to study, you had to do all this stuff. And I think I said in the previous video, it's the hardest didactic course I ever took, those prereqs and nursing school. But were they hard in the sense oh my God, I can't pass this? No, it was hard at those times because I was working 2 jobs. Not hard because, and going to school, and family. Not hard because if I could focus on it, then relatively simple and straight up. Now, a lot of people do have to work. You do have family. You have the same issues that I do, because guess what? We're all in that. Most of my viewers are in that generation. You have the mortgage. You have the kids. You have the spouse. You have the responsibilities of life. So that's nothing new. But that also shows me that you can do it, because if you're handling those things, you can handle nursing school. You can handle the prereqs. You can get into that. You can become the nurse. If you're not handling it, then maybe get your ducks in a row, because I don't think you're going to be able to handle the additional bullshit. So that gets you to becoming an RN. Once you're an RN, it's a young man's sport. It's definitely a young man's sport. So be aware of that. You know, how many years you're going to practice. Like I went into this fully knowing that I won't be practicing 20 years. This is the end of my career. This is toward the end. I might have 10, 15 years if I'm lucky. I've talked to my girlfriend. Same thing. She's a few years younger than me, but same thing. She's a NICU nurse, and you know how many more years. So we're gauging this out. We're like, oh, how many more years are we going to practice doing this? You know, it's not something you go into and think you're going to make 30 years. You're not going to practice until you're 80. Although she has a couple on her unit that are 70, so it's possible. But that's NICU. And that's a benefit of nursing, is that bedside is what I'm talking about. It's a young man's sport, but you don't have to do bedside. You could do something else. You could do NICU. You could do corporate. You could do outpatient. You could do a number of things. You could do infusion. You can do dialysis. You know, there's a whole bunch of options you can do. You can do in office. So be aware that it's already a journey to become an RN. When you're here, then it's also like, how do you want to really plan on doing that? But I find that's something you could decide later on, because as lay people, when I came into this, I didn't know anything. I couldn't tell a syringe from a flush. Okay? So don't worry about that too much, but I just wanted to just throw it up there. The main thing is getting off your duff and making the first step. You're never going to go on that journey if you don't start the journey. You know, it might be 10,000 steps. It might be 20,000 steps. But it's always going to be 20,000 steps if you've never taken the first one. Okay? Good luck.